Good day, everyone. It's so wonderful to see you. I'm just giving a couple of minutes for some more people to trickle in to join us for the webinar today. So we'll get started in a minute. Okay. All right. Let me get us going. I'll start off by introducing myself. My name is Colette Curran, and I am the Vice President of EHN Guardians, and I'm really pleased to welcome you to today's webinar on the RCMP National Reintegration Program. I am so in love with this program and have been so excited for this webinar so that we can share it with more people and really bring it to your attention, not only those within the RCMP, but also other organizations to recognize the benefits of this peer support program. If you've attended our webinars before, welcome back. And if this is your first time joining one of the EHN webinars, we're so happy to have you here. For a bit of context, EHN Guardians is a division of EHN Canada, the largest network of mental health treatment facilities across the country. We provide dedicated centers offering highly specialized evidence-based treatment programs that are exclusively for military members, veterans, and first responders. Our services include inpatient care, as well as intensive outpatient programs and virtual options, depending on where you are in your recovery journey and what is best suited to meet your needs. To learn more about this, though, feel free to visit our website, ehnguardians.ca, and you'll find all the information that you need. So again, everybody is on mute and cameras are turned off for today's webinar, but we'd like you to use the Q&A box to submit your questions because it is really lovely for this to be really interactive and to make sure that we can address any thing that you may want to ask questions about or know more information around. So please use that Q&A box. We will also be sending a follow-up email in the next week, and that'll contain a link which will give you the recording for today's session, as well as a CEU certificate for those that have asked. To stay updated on our future webinars and newsletters, we also invite you to opt into our mailing list, and the form for that will be available in the Q&A chat, should you be interested. I also would like to do the land acknowledgement. I am located in Toronto, which is on the traditional territory of several nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabeg, the Chippewa, and the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. It is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. If you are new to this work and want to find out whose land you are on or grew up on, please visit www.nativeland-ca. So, joining us today is Kim Nasida, the Director of Employee Supports and Member Benefits at the RCMP. Since 2011, Kim has held a range of progressive roles within the organization, consistently championing the well-being of members and their families. A passionate advocate for mental health and wellness, Kim played a key role in the development and implementation of the RCMP's National Reintegration Program, and now nationally recognized model that supports members in their return to operational duties. Her leadership continues to shape innovative programs that foster resilience and support across the force. We're also pleased to welcome Ray Savage, the National Coordinator for RCMP's Reintegration Program. With over 2 decades of service, since beginning his policing career in 2001, Ray brings deep operational experience from his time in Alberta, where he served in general duty, the emergency response team, Combined Forces Special Enforcement Units, and the Tactical Training Session. Today, he leads the member-led, peer-driven reintegration program, supporting RCMP members as they transition back to operational duties following critical incidents, administrative assignments, or extended leave. So without further ado, I'll hand the stage over to Ray and Kim. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Colette. I'll kick off the part of the presentation with all the slides, and then we'll host a little Q&A towards this end of the presentation. So we should take probably just about a half an hour here with a variety of different slides and also some videos for all of you. So just to give you a little bit of background on the program and specifically what our mission statement is, and this is really kind of at the foundation of our program. And we support the successful and timely return to work after involvement in a critical incident or return for leave for our members. So the program is facilitated by peers, and members may participate in a self-paced, non-evaluated process designed to ensure that they are physically and mentally confident in resuming operational duties. So a big thing is that we don't force, as a desirable model of a peer support program, we don't impose the program on our members. It is voluntary to be part of it. And a big thing that we offer our peers is control. They really do dictate the scope and the pace of their individual reintegration, and it is specifically tailored to them. And another big thing that we've had a lot of success with is just reestablishing that trust between the member and the organization. We really don't have an agenda. We're really there for the member and just to help them, support them in their journey back to work. I have a little video here that was played February 27th of last year to all major political parties and receiving their full endorsement and support for continued national funding for the National Reintegration Program. So this is a little bit of an intro to the program and some of the unique services that we do offer our peers.
It's only us who will ever understand what it's like to go to those calls. It's only us who will ever understand like a hanging dead lady or a guy on meth trying to stab you. Like, how do you tell that story to somebody outside of this world? You can't.
Car crashes, homicides, drownings. Quickly you realize, like, oh, you're that guy. You're the person that has to be, someone killed themselves, you have to sit there with them and wait for a coroner for 4 hours.
If you have to, stop a threat or take someone's life, that's not a normal day. That's something you carry around with you for the rest of your life.
If you aren't connected with people that can help you, it's a very, very isolating feeling.
Over time, things built up.
Relationships were falling apart. I was not a nice person.
The person that I was before the shooting basically no longer existed. I was lost.
I was diagnosed with severe PTSD and major depression.
I was in a really dark place. Attempted and was going to take my own life. No matter how dark things get or how alone you feel, there are people out there that are if you're back 100% and want to be supportive and get you back to being you. That was a huge thing for me, was just finding me again. And for me to be able to help others, I needed to help myself first.
Sometimes the right group of people come along and it brings you back. Brings you back from that side where you never thought you could get out of. It makes you whole again.
I've never experienced something like that. I've never experienced somebody that wanted to know what I'd gone through or what I needed. And I think it was just listening. It was just having somebody listen to me.
It saved my career, saved my life.
For people too, are moms and dads and brothers and sisters who only want to make a difference at the end of the day. We only want to take care of our communities. We only want to give back.
So we're fortunate to collaborate with the National Police Federation, our RCMP union, in making that video and receiving support from not only the federal government, but also RCMP senior executive. A little bit of background about us. So we were established in Alberta in 2015, and we did base the reintegration program off the Edmonton Police Service framework. We do now do some different, or we have kind of broken off a bit from some of those foundational pieces, more based just on geographical challenges as a national police force. And of course, we have a health services model that a lot of municipal agencies don't have. But in terms of the framework, it's very, very similar to what the Edmonton Police Service created back in 2009. We've worked in the RCMP with over 1,400 members, the majority of which being since 2001, when we were nationally funded. And we have 20 full-time coordinators across the country, and we have 415 part-time facilitators across the RCMP. So we've been very aggressive in training our facilitators, and we've now delivered 19 courses across the country over the past 3+ years. A little bit about us. So we are nationally funded, and we are a centralized model. So what that means is whether you're with Edgewood or residential treatment program, or you're a community-based provider, or your detachment or unit commander in the RCMP, you don't pay for any of the costs for the member to come through the reintegration program. So we have our own cost center, and we are nationally funded. So there's never any cost for the participant or the facilitators borne by the home unit or the referrer. As a centralized model, we all are funded at national headquarters, but we're spread out across the country. So that really allows us just to build a consistent program and really kind of maintain the spirit and the essence of what this program was when we started in 2015. We are RCMP Commissioner and Senior Executive endorsed. Our last presentation to them was November 2024, and they maintained their support for the National Reintegration Program and funding. And last year, we were fortunate enough to attend Boston, where our program was the winner of the International Associations of Chiefs of Police Weber Seavey Award for Excellence in Policing. So we were recognized internationally by the Chiefs of Police for a standard of excellence in policing. So referral sources, so they can come. We really don't limit this at all. Where it kind of started in K Division in Alberta, it was really with health services, and especially Dr. Barb Schmaltz, in making a majority of the referrals, but also the health services officer, nurse managers can make these referrals. Disability management advisors, this is an area we'd really like to expand, just really in terms of sharing what this program offers to our members via an information package. You can do a peer or self-referral as well. We just ask that the medical profiles are always respected. So if a member has been off work or anything of that nature, that we just make sure that we're not doing something that's outside of the parameters of what the medical profile indicates. But the member can be operational as well. And but there's just maybe the cumulative effects of many calls, and there's just a particular stressor the member wants to work through, and we can help them with that. Supervisor commander, again, all they need to do is send an email to our divisional coordinators, and we'll share that with you at the end of the presentation as well. And yeah, members treating qualified healthcare provider as well. So we disseminated a communique last year to all providers, community-based providers that are registered with Medivie Blue Cross. So this is something that absolutely you can send an email to our division coordinator. We'll also send it to health services. And if you think it's appropriate for that member to come through the reintegration program, we will work with them as well. So just some different types of referrals. So this is really how the program started in Alberta, where we have a lot of major police incidents. So a member involved in this type of incident, it's generally there's some type of serious harm or injury or death to a member of the public or one of our members as a result of some type of interaction. So that's kind of the definition of a major police incident. So we work with members following those type of incidents just to make sure that they have no hesitations or reservations about going back to work, and can they still perform like they did during those precipitous moments. Members on graduate or return to work program. So this has become now our biggest referral source. At about almost 60% of all referrals that come through the program are members that have been on some type of extended leave or absence from the workplace. And we just help navigate their return to work journey. Members returning from leave without pay, the most common being parental leave. We have had some educational leave as well, but probably our biggest referral base from the LWOP side is parental leave. And again, just a member that's maybe been off for a year, 18 months, maybe had back-to-back children, and just hasn't done the job for a while. So yeah, we can refresh their skills. We can assist with the uniform, providing any of the technological updates, which seem to be occurring almost on a weekly or monthly basis. We can assist with all of that. Another emerging area is the transition from administrative to operational duties. So members that maybe were in a long-term administrative capacity where they were what we call a occupational 4 classification, they weren't able to do it, but now they're transitioning back to operational duties. We'll help them out as well. Return from suspension, this is a big one, a very long, drawn out process for our members. And obviously we see a lot of trust issues with members coming back after an extended absence from a suspension, but we're a judgment-free zone and we'll work with the member and just help them come back to work and kind of reconnect them to the workplace. And then, operational member dealing with ongoing stressors. So this is one as well where the member's still operational, but they do have some sticking points and they can come and work with a pair of our facilitators. It's confidential and we don't take any notes whatsoever. And we just try and help our folks out. So we try not to complicate the referral pieces too much. This here is an example of just a referral message. And this was from Dr. O'Neill, who's the health services officer in Nova Scotia in H Division. And really, this is as simple as we keep it. This member's interested in participating. At the moment, they have a temporary O4, which means they can do training. They just couldn't go and actually work a shift yet, but we'll help them build up to that capacity. And we take that email and it's as simple as that, and we'll reach out to the member. So a bit of how it works. So 2 facilitators with relevant training and experience. So if you see on the right-hand side of your screen there, our lovely Eric Borrowman, former ERT member. And if we have a member of, let's say, ERT or police dog services, or even in an undercover capacity, we will try to pair up those members with peers that have those relevant backgrounds, those similar experiences. Because there's a culture to policing, but there's also little subcultures to the variety of different units that we have as well. So in terms of building that rapport and especially that trust with a member, if we have a bit of those similar backgrounds, we find that kind of facilitates conversation and a really successful reintegration much quicker. The program, kind of touched on this in our mission statement, but the program is built for them and it's led by them. So we really empower the member to really direct where they want their reintegration to go. And it's not an evaluation of how they did or their current skill set. So if you've been involved in a major police incident or you've been away from work for an extended period of time, we're not the testing team. There's all kinds of testing and judgment that comes from the public to internally when we have to recertify in our skill sets. And that can be a little daunting and intimidating. We're there just to help kind of build you up at your own pace and then help you get back to mandatory training or back on the road operationally. So that's a big part with us, is that, we're not the testing team. And we're judgment-free. It doesn't matter why you've come to us, whether it's because of something that was investigation related, there's an extended absence due to a physical or psychological injury. It really doesn't matter to us. We're there just to listen to your story and then tailor a reintegration based on the member's needs. And no notes taken. So again, that's kind of one of the foundational pieces of any good peer support program. So we don't take any notes. We're there just to help build that member's confidence and skill set again and help them return to work. So a bit of how it works here, just looking at like this slide as 3 columns: intake, member-led training, and follow-up. So the intake, just starts with that email. And then one of our full-time divisional coordinators will identify a pair of facilitators. They'll meet with the member and determine what the member needs. Do they need to refresh their skills? with some intervention options, some scenarios. Is there an exposure piece in terms of maybe they were just involved in a shooting and they want to make sure they're good doing that again? Or is there some type of exposure plan with their psychologist or clinician that we have their consent and we can work through that? Or other member-led experiences? Is there something they want to work through, recreate? Is there a location they want to return to? We can help with all of that. And then we just do the follow-up. Anniversaries obviously being very, very important to our peers. And we do regular check-ins as well, especially when the member that evening, when they go back to work, and also kind of at the 1 month, 3 month, and 6 month, just to check in and just see, yeah, where they're at and if there's anything else that we can help them out with. So here's just an example here from a major police incident involving one of our members, Constable Morgan Kay, when he was posted to Wetaskiwin Detachment, and he's now in K Division or Alberta Tactical Training Section.
Shots fired out. I heard 40 shots.
An RCMP officer suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries. An ambulance with police escort rushing him to the U of A hospital. The 27-year-old suspect is dead.
My name is Morgan Kay. I'm a constable here in K Division. I work in Wetaskiwin. I didn't actually seek out the reintegration program. It sought me out. I was involved in a shooting in Leduc in May of 2020. Suspect did not survive the event. I got shot in the head with a 12-gauge shotgun, and I was off work for quite a while. One of the members that we're here with today was my supervisor at the time, and he was a facilitator with reintegration, and recommended the program to me because we had kind of had these conversations about, am I coming back? Am I not coming back? It was a big no for a long time. Told me about the program, and I'm like, I don't know, man. That sounds kind of scammy, honestly. I was like, this is RCMP, and I don't know. I don't know if I trust him enough to have something that's actually just good for me. He's like, no, it's not like that. It's not the box checking. It's not here with a clipboard. We're just going to hang out and just going to try to help you. And it took quite a few conversations, honestly, before I felt comfortable saying okay, fine, I trust you as a member and as a person, so fine, let's see what this is. And I talked to my psychologist about it and kind of explained what the program had been explained to me. And he said, well, if you think that's something that you want to do and you think would be beneficial, then I support you doing it. We went to the range for my reintegration, and Chris went up to the firing line. Dean and I waited back around the 100-meter mark or so, and he just started firing off rounds. With mine, it was very specific and very straightforward. My shooting, I shot through the windshield of my PC. So it's a pretty specific kind of unique event that we don't have formal training in doing that sort of thing. So I had a lot of questions about where'd my rounds go? Were they effective? Did they do what I thought they would do? What does shooting through glass feel or look like when I'm not being shot at? Through the facilitators, we were able to speak with ACERT, and then they said, well, we can recreate your shooting basically with real vehicles, with real glass, with real bullets. And I was like, oh, well, all right. I'm totally on board, and that it was gonna finally get me the answers that I wanted, that I can see with my own eyes. It's I just did this right now in front of me, and then we can put this thing to rest. And then that's exactly what we did. A program like this, with people that know exactly what you're talking about. They've been there and they've done it themselves, and they're here for no other reason than to help you do or experience whatever you need to do and experience to get back to work. You can't replace it. You can't substitute it with anything. That's the only way you could do it for people to actually get the help that they need. Lord knows we have enough people ODS in the RCMP, and I don't see any other way that you're going to start getting a lot of those people back without something like this. And I think my situation would be a perfect example of that.
So Morgan does a really great job there of explaining his reintegration, and his was very factual based. He did a lot of the heavy lifting with his psychologist for about a year, and then when the conversation was broached about coming back to work, he still had a lot of questions that were unanswered, and whether did he do what he thought he did? Was it effective? Can somebody let me know? And can we replicate that? Because I've never done this before. And I want to make sure if I go back to operational duties that I can perform in the same manner. So Morgan does a great job of explaining that. And what we've provided him with a little bit of exposure and just putting the firearm back in his hands and then allowing him to really direct his reintegration. So a bit about that on kind of the support pieces and where we can, for any of you that are here that are registered with Medavie Blue Cross or you're with a residential treatment program, we can really partner with you and help the member out. And where we found this has been an excellent model is we're just cops. So we're not trained in any different treatment modality, nor do we want to be, but we have access to everything that a police officer needs to do their job, but also come back to work. So when we work in parallel together with a clinician and a reintegration facilitator, it can be a really good model in terms of helping that member get back to work when we're both working together. So just some examples that we've done where we've had referrals where we have the consent of the member, and we also have a plan that is either drawn up by them or their psychologist. Our taser. So yeah, we have a number of incidents that involve our members of that, and even just something as simple as hearing the cycling of that conducted energy weapon again, we can help with that. Police vehicle related incidents. All the time, our members are required to drive at high speeds, and they have a number of collisions. We also have our police vehicles being rammed probably on a weekly basis throughout the country. So that can be a little daunting in terms of coming back to work and getting back in that driver's seat again. So we can help with that. Returning to a location or a scene. So again, we have incidents that have happened in RCMP area, RCMP housing, and we can help get that member, and they can bring their psychologist with them as well if there's something that they need to attend and work through and see how they're going to react. Autopsies as well. We've done this. We've done this actually with some of our forensic members who deal with a lot of death and carnage, and whether they can do the job still and can they see another body. So we have done that as well, where we've brought them to a coroner or a medical examiner, and it's just been a really good experience for all involved. Radio or video recordings. We can help assist with this as well, whether it's with the Independent Investigations Office that may be investigating something, or just acquiring it when the time is right so the member can get a little bit of a clearer picture on what they were involved in under a stressful moment. Fighting from the bottom. Yeah, our members do get assaulted and violently assaulted as well. And that can be a big stumbling block getting back to work if someone's been on top of you and has been hurting you. So we can help with that as well. And we have a number of police defensive tactic practitioners within the organization. And we've done this exclusive for male members and just female sessions as well, where we've even brought groups together. Assisting other agencies, we do that as well, from fire departments to EMS, whatever the case may be, we can help with that as well, and we have several times in the past. Even exposure to flying, where yeah, we do have some pretty bad incidents that happen in the RCMP, and just getting members exposed to returning to an aircraft or even that type of scene, we can help with that. And a structure fire. And that was another one we did not too long ago, where the member really was struggling with not being able to go in there and save this family. And we did a reintegration with a fire department, and they were able to explain how fire works and why there's no way he could have gone in there and dealt with any of that. And again, it was just brought that member some closure that they did everything they could, but they weren't trained or had the equipment to go in there to a residential structure fire. So I'll just give you an example here of an exposure that we did do with Corporal Dave Lewis, who's one of our full-time coordinators out on Vancouver Island in E Division.
I was present for the shooting at the Bank of Montreal in Saanich, and as a result of that and some previous member-involved shootings, I realized that I had a reaction to seeing police officers laying on the ground, and I started to question whether I could be a police officer or not. My name is Dave Lewis. I'm a corporal in E Division, and now I've switched into a coordinator in E Division for the National Reintegration Program. It's almost like a grassroots program, starting with phenomenal work in K Division with members just trying to help members come back from critical incidents. I went through my reintegration and we came up with a plan. It was okayed by my psychologist, and we started with a controlled exposure to a mannequin dressed in a police uniform laying on the ground. And by the end of the day, we had built up to several mannequins laying on the ground behind a police vehicle with firearms on the ground, trauma gear all around the mannequins. And I ended with that exposure with no reaction. I felt confident that I was going to be able to carry on being a police officer, because that really was a question that I was having. Can I fulfill my duties? I finished the reintegration. I went back to work, and shortly after, I was involved in a situation where I was faced with something very similar, and I fulfilled my obligations as a police officer. I did my job as a dog handler appropriately, and so I can speak firsthand. The reintegration for me, it worked. It was driven by me. I was in control. I felt extremely capable to continue being on the road. The reintegration program fundamentally is members helping members. We're not medical practitioners. We're not psychologists. We're there to provide an expertise peer-to-peer and assist the medical practitioners when it comes to giving these members exposures and opportunities. The participant, the person who's looking for a reintegration, they're in control of the reintegration. It is driven by them. Our job is to make their requests happen and to facilitate the training that they feel they need in order to get back to operations. It's such a rewarding job, and it's just so amazing to see these members go from feeling, whether it's helpless or not heard, forgotten, to go through the reintegration program to the point where now they can say that they feel part of the team again.
So at times we get questions about some of the exposure-based work that we do with members. And I guess the key piece that we really want to emphasize here is that the member's always in control, and we're not exposing them to something they wouldn't encounter again in an operational environment. And if the referral comes from a qualified healthcare provider, we're following their direction. So for example, if the member has a fear hierarchy, we will follow that, and we will work with the clinician and the member. So we often get asked, well, can I be there as well with the member? And we're like, yeah, absolutely, of course. That we'd actually prefer that. And so, yeah, it's a really great relationship where we have the member, we have the qualified healthcare provider, and we have the reintegration team all working together to support each other and just help that member come back to work. So just quickly, we'll get into some stats here before we wrap up. But yeah, we had almost 500 members come through the program last year, and that supported the return of almost 22 million in salary back to operational duties. And 88% of the members who completed the reintegration program either resumed or returned to operational duties. So our program it's more than doubling in size every year. So in previous years, we've had between 90 to 93% members coming back. Now that we're up almost about 500 members, we're about 88%. And we don't see those members that didn't come back as some type of failure by any means. In situations, we've given that member some closure and going, you know what, I just don't want to be a police officer anymore. And thanks for helping me close the door on this chapter of my life. Or some members just won't go back to operational duty, and that's okay as well. So we don't look at it like that 12% as well. Somehow it was reintegration wasn't successful, because often it's quite the opposite. And just referral breakdown, you can see here where the graduated return to work has really become our largest referral source. So that's about the last 3 years now, we're hovering right around 60% of the members that come through the program have been on an extended absence from the organization, either due to some physical or psychological injury. And what do our folks say? So it's super hard to get cops to fill out a survey, but over the last few years, we've actually had 280 responses there. You can see here we even help out the NHL. So that's full credit to the reintegration program for that gold medal in Four Nations Cup. That's one of our facilitators, Brent McDonald, helped out. Sidney Crosby captained the team. Okay, maybe not, but yeah, good friends, childhood friends growing up, and that was as close as we could ever get to getting Crosby to wear our shirt without violating any of his sponsorship agreements. So this is what our folks are saying as they come through the program. Discussions were helpful. Sessions with the facilitators were helpful. Process is safe and respectful. Improve the confidence related to operational duties. Satisfied with the experience and would recommend the program to a colleague. So well over 93% or higher in all those areas there. So yeah, we're really, when you empower the member to drive their reintegration and let them know that, yeah, they are in the driver's seat that entire time. And as long as the request is reasonable, we really do everything we can to turn up the yes. As you'll see Brent there wearing that shirt. That is our motto, turn up the yes. If the member comes to us with a reasonable request, we will try to find a way to do that, because saying no is easy, but often saying yes can be quite challenging. And we've had a lot of success in helping our members with whatever unique piece they need to come back to work. We've also partnered with Highmark. So that's the Heroes in Mind Advocacy Research Consortium and at the University of Alberta, and they fall under rehabilitative medicine there. And they've been studying the effectiveness at reintegration programs in Alberta at reducing mental health symptoms and improving return to work outcomes among police officers. So we were able to join that study a couple of years ago. And some of the outcomes from that are public safety personnel. So when I put that, it wasn't just police officers there. We also had fire. We also had nurses. And all of those different agencies are rolling out that program here in Alberta. And the feedback from that study was that it was a standardized peer support tailored to the member. Really compelling one here is that there was a reduction in symptoms related to PTSD by 6 months post-reintegration. So again, maybe we're just that little extra cog in the wheel that is helping members come back. Communication and organization by the reintegration team. So not too often police get a lot of high fives or thumbs up for communication, but this was one of the strong points of the program. And that also we encouraged our peers to engage with in overall wellness and mental health. And we could connect them with a service provider as well. And then also just kind of some of those obstacles in returning to work when you've been out of the workplace for such an extended period of time. So that perception really diminished by about the 9-month point. And that was, again, a lot of just the communication and the work that we have, not only with the member, but also the commanders, supervisors, peers, in how we can support this member in coming back to work. So to learn a little bit more, as you'll see there is Corporal Meredith Dara and the General. So we do have a facility dog in national headquarters, and that's because of all the great work done by Meredith there, and we're hoping to roll that out as well across the country. But if you want some more information about the program, you need some brochures, you need an information package, you want some coordinator contact information, you can take a picture of that. It's a classic RCMP email, so it's long. But yeah, it always ends the same there with at rcmp-grc.gc.ca. And if you email that proxy, we can send you out an information package that's going to include we'll give you a PDF of our brochure here, and which you can hand out to members. We'll give you a contact list as well of all our divisional coordinators across the RCMP. And that is a wrap for the presentation. So I think I got in right around half an hour or so. So if there's any questions, yes, please share.
Well, Kim, I'm not sure if you had wanted to jump in with anything first, but otherwise I'm happy there are a bunch of questions here for you, Ray, that I will take us through. But Kim, I'll defer to you first.
I just wanted to add maybe that a common misconception that one of the questions we frequently get is that a member needs to be fully recovered or back to operational duties before they can participate in the reintegration program. And as Ray pointed out in the presentation, nothing prevents a member from having a coffee, even if they are on sick leave, to meet with the divisional reintegration coordinator and have that early connection. The most effective piece, of course, for the reintegration program is when members are on administrative duties or on a graduated return to work, where the reintegration program can really work with them on that journey back to operational duties. So member does not need to be fully recovered or returned back to operational duties in order to participate in the program.
That's great. Thank you for that clarification, Kim. Just perhaps further to that, it might be a good question for you. Somebody had asked us if when a member starts the reintegration process, what happens if they have medical limitations and they're unable to turn to frontline policing? Does the RCMP offer alternative positions, or does it require members to be cleared to return to frontline?
To participate in the program?
Yes. When a member starts participating, and what about those medical limitations, and how does that impact what role they return to?
So if a member is cleared to participate in the reintegration program, they can participate in the program. So we're not going to talk about their permanent status or role, but if they're clear to participate in the program, then they can do some training with the reintegration team. And we really rely on the guidance from our health service team, our occupational health team, in order to guide the reintegration coordinators on what that member can do as part of the program.
Mm-hmm. Okay, wonderful. There was a question also about once a member is identified for the reintegration program, then is participation mandatory?
No, so participation in the program is not mandatory. It is voluntary. It is a member-led program. Of course, the program is open to all members, but it is not a mandatory program.
Okay, yeah. That's great. Just sort of speaking that out loud, because I think perhaps that fear might exist about, I've kind of been nominated by somebody for that, or suggested I should go, and now, am I compelled to do that? Also, just some congrats sent by Joy in F Division, just on some of the great work that she is seeing, the reintegration program personnel doing. So always nice to hear that direct feedback from the specific health services departments. So I did, Ray, I thought it was really great when you spoke earlier, about how very often people that are doing the reintegration program are also working with the community provider, and what's tremendous about the program is that it's offering, not just exposure, obviously, to the particular incident that has made it troubling for them to return, but there's also just a lot of education, such as shooting through the glass and, that kind of thing, sort of education that happens around it. But you also did say that a lot of members have clinical support in parallel, with what's going on, because obviously what that clinical support would do, one would imagine, when being exposed to the trauma, is that would sort of loosen up the potential of examining some of the stuck points or beliefs that are keeping somebody from moving forward, and thereby, allowing these irrational thought patterns to be challenged and displaced with more effective beliefs. So the question really was, how many of your participants, are you seeing that they do have a psychologist involved with their care, that are doing that in tandem? Is that something you deliberately encourage? Maybe you want to talk to that.
Yeah, percentages, I'm not sure. When we look at that 60% of our members that are in, I guess, a category of graduate or return to work, those members that are working specifically with a clinician and doing some type of exposure piece for sure would fall under that 60%. So I can't say for sure how many, but it is an emerging area. And I think it's really, the more we can get the messaging out to clinicians, counselors, treatment providers that are registered with Medivie Blue Cross, we're seeing that really grow now. So mentioning the structure fires, to exposure, to seeing deceased individuals, all of those things, we're really starting to see that area grow. And it's especially because members want to come back to work, but they don't know how. So we provide that very open structure and open approach to saying, hey, you know what, if your psychologist thinks this would be good, why don't we all three of us work together, and we can provide access to some of those locations that maybe they cannot. And when we're all working together, and then it just kind of goes viral within the organization as well. That stigma around mental health now has been substantially reduced ever since, I think, kind of our first kind of mental health program was launched in 2014. And those everyday conversations are happening now, but also with the reintegration program as a part of it, and saying, hey, this program can really help out, and they can help connect all three parties involved and help that member come back.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. And Ray, I just really want to say that, having participated in a lot of these reintegration and training programs myself, just seeing, the way that works and is encouraged, it's so nice, how collaborative that is, and whatever needs to happen, to optimize the experience, being encouraged. And it really is nice to see so many community providers here, because what it does do, and as a qualifying registered psychotherapist myself, working in, virtual as well as inpatient settings, you are quite right, is that exposure work can only be taken so far. And the beauty about this program is that we can really, really recreate and tailor make that, and take it to a level that can't be done, working with occupational therapists and so on, with regard to these exposure settings and opportunities. So it really helps to take it a step further. Lovely for community providers to see, that if they are doing any of that, you're working in CPT or PE, EMDR, any of that kind of helping to reintegrate and consolidate thought patterns, that this might be just something that helps to take it that extra mile and close the loop on it. So tremendous to see that collaboration. A couple of other questions. Are they, can a member reach out to their local coordinator directly? I know you provided an email for them to do so, but there's also the local people. I would imagine it's okay for them to reach out directly, but perhaps I'll let you answer that.
Yeah, I think that's the best approach. Sorry, Ray. To have a member reach out to their divisional coordinator and have that conversation with their coordinator.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. All right. Terrific. And are they compensated during the reintegration program? For instance, paid hours worked and topped up hours not worked is a question as well.
So, do you want to jump in, Ray, or shall I?
Yeah.
Members,
sorry, I was just stopped sharing the video there.
Okay, so members are when members are participating in the reintegration program, they're at work, so they are compensated. Mm-hmm. Because we do have a national budget, if members are participating in the program off work hours, we do cover the overtime. Preference is, though, during work hours. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I'm quite sure that does. There's a question as well about, whether a member that is involved in a critical incident but not off duty, whether they can participate in the program.
Absolutely.
That's an interesting one.
Ray answered absolutely.
Yeah. So we've had that. So an incident, for example, that happened in the United States where a pair of our members were at an event in the United States, which was one of the largest mass casualty events in North American history. And they were involved as participants in this event. And hearing gunfire again and the exposure to that was a big stressor and a big stumbling block for one of these members. So 100% we worked with them in just making sure that they were okay, listening to gunfire, and then also being able to handle their own service firearms should they be involved in some type of incident in the future when they did go back to work.
Mm-hmm. Fabulous. And so the reintegration team gets called in for that as well to assist with any kind of recreational exposure.
Yeah, if there's something that's going to be a sticking point or a trigger potentially in their operational duties, we think it's a really good option to come with us in a confidential environment where there's no one else around and just see how are you going to react to that if you're presented with that again or potentially in an operational setting. We'd rather that if there's a trigger that had happened in the reintegration and not operationally when public safety and officer safety are paramount.
Okay, that's great. Continuing on the community provider vein, is there an opportunity for clinicians to be present to observe the reintegration process and training?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've had a number of observers over the past 3 years attend our reintegration training. We have started to limit it a little bit, but we do have a course coming up in Salmon Arm in September, and then another one in Halifax towards the end of October. And if there is still capacity for those in the observer crowd to attend, absolutely, you can come check out the program. And again, if you're working with a member and there's something that you want to be there for with the member you're working with and the reintegration program, absolutely, you can participate in that. And again, we prefer that.
Okay, fantastic. There is a question regarding the timing on that that has been asked here as well, is from the time of referral. The referral is received to say this person is really a suitable candidate for the reintegration program and they want to participate. How quickly is it coordinated? Like, is there a waiting period?
It really depends. We stand up our team as soon as the referral is received, but we're dealing with a number of different stakeholders and the second largest country on the planet. So we have a lot of remote and we have a lot of isolated locations. So sometimes just even getting the travel to get the member out of that location may take a little longer than, for example, if the member is in Edmonton. But whenever we receive the referral, we're reaching out to that member right away and we're finding out, let's come up with a plan of how we can meet with you. Do we need to come to you? Do you want to come to us? Do you want to get out of that community? We're super flexible in that regards. But the timelines, they vary just because, we're just a massive country and organization.
Sure. Yeah, and depending, I guess, as well on what the particular, incident was or injury and how that needs to be recreated or set up, I guess would also influence that process.
Yeah, and as a national police force, although we're nationally funded, every division, every province, has their nuances and do things a little bit differently than each other as well. So we're always navigating those pieces as well.
I think though too, Ray, the communication with the divisional coordinator is ongoing. So the member who's been referred has a sense of that timeline as well.
Yeah. There's a question here too, and I'm going to take a bit of a leap and say this might be related also to moral injury that happens, is does spiritual wellness play a role in this process? And if so, what does that look like?
It's a good question.
Absolutely, it can. So the National Reintegration Program and spiritual wellness services all fall under employee supports and member benefits. So you can really look at reintegration or spiritual and wellness services as kind of prescriptions for the member if you want informally. So under kind of that massive org chart that Kim operates, we can tap into all different services that maybe the member needs. So for example, we had a member involved in an incident that was from one province, was now posted into a rural location in another province. And they were involved in a major incident where him or his spouse did not have access to their spiritual services. So that actually involved us not only engaging the chaplain at the time, but also staffing to say, how can we move this member out of this community so we make sure that they have the support they need? So all of our divisional coordinators have worked in their divisions for, upwards of 2 decades. So there's a lot of ongoing networking and established relationships are there that we can help. So that's just one particular area. So if that member wants that, well, we have George Madden. He's my counterpart under employee supports and member benefits, and we can tap into them as well, and vice versa.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, I think, it sounds to me that what it's also offering, I know there are all sorts of navigation plan options as well, but it's just helping people to navigate because people in the reintegration program are really tapped in, to the available resources. And so they can kind of point them, as you say, in the right directions and hook them up with the right resources. Because I imagine sometimes, that injury might be something to do with, like, I just, and I kind of heard that mentioned a little in one of the videos. It's like, do I even just trust that returning to the organization that it has my back and so on? And so it might just be, that working through that kind of, my values and the values of the organization, and are they aligned? And some sort of spiritual conversation around that, or intervention.
Well, and on the same frame of mind, Colette, is that the reintegration team is like Ray was saying, very networked in their divisions, so they know the tools and programs and supports that are available to the member that the members themselves are not even aware of. So having that connection with reintegration really helps to globally support that member in that return to operational duties.
Yeah, fantastic. All right.
And if I could add one thing, Colette, as well, just I know we're talking a lot about exposure and members, but we really work with what could be, again, not innocuous to the member, maybe innocuous and easy for us, but I'll use an example of my wife. She's a member of the Edmonton Police Service. She did a reintegration after being in a plainclothes unit for 7 years and going, holy cow, so much has changed. Well, what the Edmonton Police Service reintegration team did with her, because she's like, well, I need a clip for my portable radio on my duty belt. I need to know what program. I haven't worked a computer in a police vehicle in a while. I need access to all these different things, and I want to work a shift with a member in patrol just to get my bearings again. So that's what my wife did. So there was just anxiety about going back on the road again, but she didn't have a clinical diagnosis. She just was a little nervous about getting back on the road again and what equipment do I need and whatever. And the reintegration team said, yeah, a couple of days, let's go do this. And yeah, she had an amazing week with that team. So it's very broad scope in what what we can offer to the members.
Love it. Love it. And we do hear sometimes the female members, of the force saying, maybe I've been on a mat leave and so on. And however you put that, get my bearings. Sometimes I'd really just appreciate a little bit of peer support and really just, get my bearings again and have some comfort with returning. Yeah. To what I need to do. There is another question here, and I know we're on time, at 1 p.m. and people have a busy day, I'm sure, ahead of them. But perhaps it's a good one to end on, which is, are there training or info sessions about the program provided to all RCMP members, or is it available on a local intranet for the members? So I know things like today's webinar are really helpful, and I think any kind of exposure to the program or training available on any forum that you might have is obviously welcomed for people to just spend a little bit of time, learning more.
Yep. So on a national scope, absolutely, I'll do these presentations anytime. If it's at a provincial, a divisional level, or something a little more localized, we would connect you with one of our full-time divisional coordinators to either attend in person or to give you a virtual presentation as well.
That's great. That's great. Well, again, honestly, thank you so much for turning up to talk about this. We are seeing, obviously, peer support. It just can be that human connection and the hand that reaches out from an organization that may sometimes feel a little amorphous or perhaps unfriendly. Just to have that human connection to say, I'm here for you. I'm going to help you step back into this. And this program, obviously, it won an award. There's so much work that has been put into its excellence, and I can't say enough good things about it. So thank you very much for sharing more on that today to both yourself and Kim. We're extremely grateful.
Thank you for having us on this platform.
Yes, thank you so much. It was wonderful.